1. Welcome back to Two Marks and a Spark. We're actually recording this show on time.
That's something new. What's that like? Being on time.
Well, we're not exactly on time. We did sit here and talk for like 20 minutes, but uh we showed up on time
Yes, we did.
and on the right day at that. Uh Russ, how you doing, partner?
I'm doing great today.
Well, we got a lot to get to today, a lot of pro wrestling news to discuss. I want to start with Kevin Kelly, fired with immediate effect from AEW.
Yeah, they let him go right away. I don't know much about the backstage story, only what I've seen
Um,
in the headlines. Not a lot officially confirmed.
so basically, he went on a Twitter rant that basically buried Ian Riccaboni along with, I guess, a couple other people. He didn't say any names, but you knew who he was talking about. And he basically blamed them for him not being on TV.
Okay.
When I don't know if you know this, Russ, Ian Riccaboni does not own AEW.
No, no, he doesn't. No, he doesn't. Um,
Uh, so therefore not his choice.
correct. Right.
As I understand it, the way the hierarchy works in terms of commentary is Tony Schiavone's kind of in charge and Tony Khan oversees it.
Yeah.
So if it was anybody's decision to pull Kevin Kelly off television, it was either Tony Schiavone or Tony Khan,
Right.
not Ian Riccaboni.
Sure. I don't
Which
know anything about the movie that was made reference to. There's a film
it
that
was some, I don't
it's a
know.
controversial film. I don't. Some people link it to QAnon. Uh, it's kind of hard to say. QAnon is really kind of like it's not really an official organization. It's sort of it's a mishmash of crazy theories that have been around in different versions for a long, long time. But apparently, Kevin Kelly promoted the film and then was accused of supporting QAnon, something along that lines. He got very offended by that and upset and said QAnon was bullshit and Ian Riccaboni. I think the term he actually used was libeled, which is a legal term. And when in the court of law, you'd have to show intention and all that kind of stuff. So it sounds like he was pissed off and he kind of just went on a rant and went a little too far. That's why I don't I don't mess around with Twitter.
Well, speaking of potentially going too far, Russ, should
Yes.
we should we tell the people about that little joke I made last week and how it ended?
Yeah, go ahead. Go right. Exactly. Give a little update.
Okay, so I made a joke at the end of the show last week that I was going to be on the road anyway the week before Dynasty, and I might just end up going to the pay-per-view. Well, that joke turned, I worked myself into a shoot, brother. Uh, well, dude, I worked myself into a shoot, and I'm going to the pay-per-view. Long story short. A couple of programming notes as well before we get into the show recaps and a bunch of other stuff. Um, Couple of show notes here. So I will be traveling from the beginning of April to pretty much the end of it up until Dynasty. So we will still be doing the show. Our WrestleMania extravaganza is very much still on. That is still going to happen. I just will not be in the same place.
What date is
So
Dynasty again? April
21st, I believe.
Sunday. Well,
Yeah.
why the hell didn't I write it on my calendar yet?
I know because
Tell
you
me
don't.
that. You
I don't
forgot
know
to
because
remind me to. You're like my wife. She forgets me to write things down, so I blame her. Dynasty. And this will not have Linda Evans or any people running around in evening gowns and pearls or shit.
I don't think so. But
Yeah,
maybe call ahead to the
maybe
David's Arena box office to confirm.
Joan Collins is going to have a bra and panties match or anything.
No, but I'm kind of glad about that because if that was happening, I don't think I'd be going.
I wouldn't either.
So yes, I will be in St. Louis at the pay-per-view. I will not be at WrestleMania, however, though I must admit I thought about it.
Yeah, that's
But
the cost of that's incredible. It's like $300 to get a seat where you could only see part of what's going on. You're partly behind the stage and your vision obscured, and that's like $300, man.
for one night, and it's a two-night show, remember that.
Stay home and have the best seat in the house.
Hell, I'm going to be watching it from somewhere in Seattle, and I'm going to have a better seat than anybody in fucking Philadelphia, apparently,
I think you're right.
for a whole lot less money, and I don't have to brave the elements to do it.
You got it. So you're going to be doing some from various locations when we are able to do shows that month. You will be in various locations, and we'll just kind of book things on the fly as we need to.
The show will go on. There is one week we will not have a show, although that was kind of pre-planned anyway. Um, the week after WrestleMania, so the week of April 15th,
Right.
there will not be a show. Me and Russ will do some sort of post show for Dynasty that Sunday.
Sure.
Um, that will probably be recorded from my hotel room. Uh, unless Russ wants to wait for me to fly back the next morning, which I don't think he'll want to do. Um, but I will be in St. Louis.
You just gotta be sober enough to do the show, brother.
I won't be drunk Sunday night, but I have friends in St. Louis who have told me,
Hey, it don't matter if you're a little lit up, long as you can do the show.
well, I can tell you there will be no parties in my hotel room, Russ. The hotel I am staying at may look nice, but I must tell you the room I got is definitely not a suite.
Fall, huh?
It's a loft. It's nice, but it's not great.
All right.
But Russ, let's talk about Monday Night Raw.
All right, let's take a look at it.
I thought this was a very good show.
I did too, for the most part. I thought it was a pretty good show. I believe they were in San Antonio, Texas.
They were at a place called the Frostbank Center, which, of all the funky names for arenas,
Right.
like we got the Smoothie Bank, we got the Chapped Ass Cheeks
A lot of
Arena.
strange names for arenas now.
I think I'm the only one still calling the Crypto.com Arena the Staples Center.
Now, what do
Um,
you think about the diarrhea poo-poo promo? Just to get that
okay,
one.
so this
I'm
show
sorry.
starts
I'm getting ahead of myself here.
with a recap of the Bloodline segment from SmackDown, and we
Right.
get to Cody and Seth, and Cody comes out, and Cody was not in a great mood this night.
Really? No.
And he was even in a worse mood on SmackDown. So, Cody's just having kind of you know, Russ, we talk about this all the time with CM Punk. If that's what being straight edge does, Damn it, give me a beer.
Yeah, exactly. Is Cody one also similar?
No, no, no. He was drunk at a press conference one time with Jey Uso. That was funny.
Oh, but it was funny.
That's when they won the tag titles. That was a funny presser.
Right.
So Cody comes out. He talks about The Rock, of course. He talks
Exactly.
about how Rock didn't accept his challenge. This is all to set up for them announcing, for Seth coming out and them announcing that they're going to be on SmackDown on Friday to respond
Right.
to The Rock and Roman Reigns challenge face to face. We'll talk more about that later.
Right.
Um, we then get Gunther versus Dominic Mysterio. I want to talk about something on commentary here.
Yes. Go
I don't
ahead.
know if you heard this. So Michael Cole is intelligent. Okay, he's a smart guy. He's
Sure.
got a he's got a big old brain. So he says on commentary as this match is getting started that they wanted to congratulate Sting on his great career and his retirement.
Correct.
And then
I
Pat
did.
McAfee, Pat McAfee, who I'm never sure if he's sober for these events. In fact, Monday on Raw, I'm almost 100% certain Pat McAfee was not sober. Um, says he had an epic match last night,
But it wasn't last night.
but he's referring to Revolution,
Correct.
which was the night before when this show was.
Correct.
I don't need to tell you why he shouldn't have said that.
Yeah. Exactly.
Would you like me
Yeah.
to do my Vince McMahon impression there? God
Yeah.
damn
Go
it, pal.
ahead.
Don't mention that fucking
God
company.
damn it.
God
Like I
damn it,
said,
pal.
yeah, pal. Exactly. Got to call you pal though.
So Dominic Mysterio got his ass kicked for 10 minutes by Gunther.
Yes, he did.
I mean, this poor sap just got murdered in the middle of the ring.
It looked pretty bad. It looked pretty brutal. Of
There was nothing about this that gave you any idea that Dominic could win.
course not. And then
This
what
was,
happened?
eh, well, then, of course, Gunther won.
Correct.
Then we get a whole bunch of stalling. This show's one main flaw was they stalled a ton, and there was a bunch of segments that it's just like, did we
Yeah,
need that? Like
exactly.
they show Damage Control talking to Adam Pearce. And like I get it, they're teasing something for later,
Right.
but why?
Yeah, because it didn't. There was no payoff with that show on Monday
I mean,
night.
there was a payoff, but it was like not a real one.
Yes, I hear you. Yeah, it's frustrating.
They show Andrade get into the arena.
It's getting a
Caden
little
Carter and
nonchalant
Katana
style.
Chance. Huh?
Looks like they're trying to push him, and
Looks
he
like it.
is good. I hope they get him some bigger opponents.
Caden Carter and Katana Chance do an interview with Kathy Kelly. They basically say they want their titles back. They're never going to get their titles back. It's never going to happen. Sorry, ladies.
Yeah, probably not. That was probably just a one-time thing, most likely.
Well, Shayna Baszler and Zoe Stark immediately ruin their dreams.
Yeah, they sure did.
Uh, Damage Control was sitting at the announce table here, and Dakota Kai gets in the ring, cuts a promo after this match is over, and basically says after they retain on the next night's NXT, which they did, they'll
Right.
be on Raw Monday to defend again against Baszler and Stark.
Right.
I don't know what they're doing with the women's tag titles. At least they're getting defended.
Yeah. Yeah. It's they don't. It's not like they have a lot of women tag teams to pick from.
And then we had the calamity, the disaster, the fucking shit show that was Becky Lynch versus Nia Jax.
We had to see this again, didn't we? After all this time.
I didn't want to see it.
Uh,
This match failed to keep me interested. And of course, it ended in a fucking disqualification because it's still the
yeah,
WWE.
but how long did it go on? I know it went on too long, but
11 goddamn minutes.
it felt like a 20-minute match. You know what I mean?
11 minutes for Nia Jax versus Becky Lynch to go to a DQ. I was pissed.
Yeah, that was a waste of time there.
Liv Morgan interferes.
Then we got
Uh,
it.
and then we skip forward a little bit here. Pierce announced this gauntlet tournament thing. I don't really know how to phrase it
Right.
to decide Gunther's challenger at WrestleMania.
Right. We got six guys.
Sami Zayn, Ricochet, Shinsuke Nakamura, Bronson Reed, JD McDonough, and Chad Gable.
Right.
My preference there is Chad Gable, but it's not going to happen.
You think which one did you think will actually win it? Sami Zayn?
I mean, it's going to be a baby face, right?
Yeah. I
I
mean,
would
I'd
think
love to see Bronson Reed, but they're not going to book that. So I know he's my favorite out of that group as far as what I like to see matched up with Gunther.
Then we had Andrade versus Apollo Crews. This was a squash. Andrade killed him.
Man, it sure was. That didn't take much time at all.
That looked like a wind sprint.
Yep.
And then we got just a few more matches here. Just three more matches on this show. A lot of backstage filler.
Right. And long entrances as usual.
Sami Zayn versus Ivar. This was fine. Zayn won.
Right.
I'm kind of gonna mow through this here because I got a lot I want to talk about with AEW. Before that, we had Judgment Day, Priest and Balor against Kaiser and Vinci. Uh, Priest and Balor won, as you knew they would. They have the titles.
Yes.
And then the main event of this show was Jey Uso versus Drew McIntyre. They went to break like immediately for this match, and I got mad.
Oh yeah. They'll do that. They'll have a long ass entrance and then they start the match and go immediately to a break. Hate that.
Well, McIntyre wins, and this whole thing ends in a fucking schmoz.
Like, yeah.
Everybody comes out.
Uh,
Jimmy Uso, Solo Sikoa, Cody Rhodes.
yeah.
Everybody's out here. Brand Split is dead. And that's how the show goes off the air. I thought this show was pretty solid, front to back. I thought the opening segment was by far one of the stronger opening segments
Right.
Raw has had in a long time. And
So
let's not
far,
forget
go ahead.
Diarrhea Poo Poo Rock.
No, that's not the greatest promo in history, but it is catching on. Uh, Despite that, it's kind of like it dragged, like you said, there were parts of the show that brought it down, but it is a 3-hour show, you know.
It's not always going to be perfect, and Monday's Raw specifically was really not. It was a good show
But
though.
but here's the thing, compared to what we were getting a year or two ago, I'll take it.
Well, we have Dynamite to talk about next. Russ, can we talk about the new Dynamite logo?
Yeah, well, it's kind of weird looking in it.
It's shitty.
I mean, it looks like it. It looks very like it would have been really cool in like the 1980s.
I will say I like the new set. I do like the new set,
Uh-huh.
but other than that, um, we got a promo segment to open this Dynamite Russ, something that is becoming very common on this show.
Yeah,
Remember, like, I don't know,
that's
a
right.
few months ago?
We started with Swerve.
Yeah, but do you remember when these shows always used to start with like a really hot match?
Right, exactly. Now, Dynamite has more of this type of format. Definitely.
Which is fine. I don't mind it, but I kind of liked the hot match to start the show gimmick.
Sure.
Um, so Swerve comes out and he is angrier than a fucking $2 pistol. He is so mad because he didn't win.
I know what to do.
And he basically wants a rematch with Joe at Dynasty. Um, this leads to Undisputed Kingdom coming out. Wardlow versus Joe is next week. Well, technically this week. And
Right.
then you got to figure it's going to be Swerve and Joe at the pay-per-view.
I would think so. That would seem to be where I would want the money to go. Yeah.
Um, but this all leads to a tag match. Swerve and Joe against uh Taven and Bennett.
Which made no sense. The way that was just booked on the fly, and Joe's just standing there like, what the fuck are you talking about a tag match? I didn't come out here to fucking wrestle. It was a goofy moment, you know what I mean? It was like a WWE type moment.
Well, anyway, Swerve and Joe win because they're not beating the world champion here.
No, they're not.
Especially not Mike Bennett and Matt fucking Taven.
They've
Anyway,
been around for quite a while.
uh
Have they not?
well yeah. After the match, Joe chokes out Swerve and Wardlow comes out and that whole thing happens.
Yeah.
So we get a really strange interview segment with Hook.
Yeah, I
What the
know.
fuck was this?
I don't know. He doesn't usually talk much.
So Renee asks him about his match with Brian Cage, so on and so
Right.
forth. Then here comes Chris fucking Jericho of all people,
Right.
and he starts talking about his first match against Taz.
Right. And his impression of Hook. Yeah, it's coming out of nowhere. I don't know what they're doing with. They're trying to do something with Jericho and Hook, I guess.
I don't know.
Which God only knows what that could end up being.
Well, then we get the EVPs who say they have two huge announcements and they'll make them in the ring later. We would
Yeah,
get a massive payoff for that. Credit to AEW. We get a massive payoff for that.
sure.
Then we had Cage versus Hook for the FTW title.
Yes.
I'll be honest,
Yes. How'd you like it?
I didn't see this match.
Oh, you didn't?
I knew it was coming,
Right.
but I stepped out of the room for a minute. I came back
And it was
and
over already.
Hook had won.
Yep.
I saw Hook like celebrating or whatever, but I didn't see any of the match.
Yeah, I don't think it was very long.
Must not have been because I don't think I was out of the room for more than 10 minutes.
What?
I thought I paused the show, which is why I left the room. But
Oh,
I
okay.
came back and the show was unpaused, and I was like, well, I don't feel like rewinding for Hook versus Brian Cage. Sorry, Tony. We had Killswitch versus Matt Menard. This I did see, wish I hadn't.
Yeah. They don't know what to do with either one of those guys.
Even though I think the answer is very simple.
What's that? Fire them?
Uh, no, push him, specifically
Yeah.
Menard. And then
Oh,
we
yeah.
find out,
I agree 100%. Yes. Yeah, he is underappreciated, underutilized.
and then this whole thing leads to Adam Copeland appearing on the screen and saying, Christian Cage, you dirty son of a bitch.
Yep.
I'm going to take down you and your patriarchy in Toronto in an I quit match.
Right.
So on March 20th,
That's
it will
coming
be a
up
di-
on, yeah,
it's in Toronto. I believe that's a dynamite.
that's a week from, yeah, that's a week from Wednesday.
So that is a dynamite.
You betcha.
I bet that match will kick all the ass in the world. And, for all the problems I have with AEW storytelling at times, Cage versus Copeland has been tremendous.
Yeah, it'll probably be a pretty good match. I'd be surprised if it wasn't.
Um, Fun fact, this will be the second I Quit match in less than 12 months for Adam Copeland. Because he had one in Extreme Rules.
Oh, that's right. Yep. I'd forgotten all about that one.
No, wait, was that 2022 or 2023 that he had that I Quit match with Finn Balor? That was 2022 he had that I Quit match with Balor. So
So
little
it's
over
been over
12
a
months.
year. Been over a year. All right.
We get a recap of Sting's final match.
Correct.
And then here come the EVPs.
Two, count them, two big announcements.
Two, actually, they made like four, but
Yeah, there was more than two. There was like
so,
announcement two, part one, and part two. Yeah,
and the last announcement they made, very significant,
correct.
big difference maker.
Correct.
So the Bucks
Well,
come out.
they talked about old Hangman there.
So Hangman suspended
Correct.
after beating up the referee.
Yeah, I knew that they have to do something with that.
Now they suspended him from the Elite, not from AEW.
Right.
And then they also mentioned Kenny Omega, who is out with diverticulitis, might I add,
Correct.
is removed entirely from the group.
Right. He's fired. He's shit canned. And then they introduce what's his name?
Well, no. Eddie
No,
Kingston comes out
right.
and he's madder than a hornet. Eddie Kingston is so sick of this shit.
I was right. He's always upset.
I don't know about you, but Eddie Kingston is one of my favorite wrestlers right now.
I'm enjoying him a lot. I really am.
I acknowledge he's not like one of the best in the world or anything, but he's one of my favorites. And
Well,
he comes out and he's madder than a hornet and he's cussing out the Bucks. And
yes, he is.
eventually this leads to him getting 2-on-1 beat up after a low blow. And then the fucking coin drops and this place goes up.
Yeah, the crowd was really into it. And see, the crowd was obviously, they knew a whole lot more about this gentleman than I do.
Here comes fucking Kazuchika Okada, the biggest star New Japan has maybe produced in decades for sure.
Right.
And he is all elite, and he is now a member of the elite. We are getting heel Okada, which I'm fine with,
Yeah.
because I think we're probably going to end up with babyface Will Ospreay. So if we're going to get heel Okada, fine by me.
I hope they don't kill each other or cripple each other in the meantime.
Wouldn't that be nice?
I'm sure that we'll get some really good matches out of it.
And then we got, speaking of stuff I really enjoyed, Riho and Chris Statlander. This was fucking great.
Not a huge Riho fan. I enjoyed this match against Chris Statlander. Riho looks so tiny
I
compared to
like
all the
Riho.
other women, doesn't she?
But here's the thing, she uses that to her advantage because she can do shit that the rest of them can't do.
Yes.
And that's why she's so good. And she ends up getting a win over Stat here. Statlander looks like she's going to turn heel.
She was the first champion, wasn't it? Riho, first women's champion. Is that correct? For
Yeah.
AEW? Okay.
And then it was Nyla Rose. And then it was Hikaru Shida for like ever.
Quite a while, yeah.
And then it was Britt Baker forever.
For a long time. Never hear nothing from her anymore. Don't know what's up with that.
Pretty loud on Twitter. Not anywhere
Oh
else
yeah,
anymore.
I haven't kept track of that, but okay, yeah.
Uh, we had Renee backstage with Willow Nightingale and Stokely Hathaway.
Yeah. It's interesting here with this group, the way they're evolving, you know.
Kind of seems like Statlander's probably going to turn on them.
Could be
Or maybe Willow and Stokely are also going to go heel. I don't know.
they're going somewhere with it. They're taking their time with it, which is unusual for this company.
Well, Shivani welcomes Darby Allin to the ring, and away we go with this parade. Um, Darby's out there and he's talking about how he's going to go climb Mount Everest, and next week may be his last match and
Right.
all that. And then here come the Bang Bang Scissor Gang.
Yep. The bang bangers, the gang bangers.
I don't know what the hell was going on here. Jay White and Darby Allin actually cut a pretty good fucking promo.
Yes.
But listen, a lot of people die on Mount Everest every year. People that are Dave Meltzer talked about this. Is like more experienced climbers than Darby Allin die on Mount Everest every year.
Yeah, every year. And I mean, how much mountain climbing experience does the guy have? Any?
Yeah, he has some.
Well, well, I hope he gets up there and back without killing himself.
Or if he thinks he's going to die, that he just doesn't do it.
Right. You know, some people have a death wish. That is a real thing for some folks.
Well, then we had. I'm going to skip the House of Black promo and the Mark Briscoe stuff because it doesn't matter.
That'd be just fine. Yeah,
Unfortunately,
that led up to a fairly inconsequential match on
Collision.
on Collision, which we will not be talking about.
Because I didn't see it, and frankly, I don't regret it. Then we had maybe the television match of the year: Kyle Fletcher and Will Ospreay.
I was,
Holy shit!
I was really amazed to see these countrymen really go after each other. It was really it was a lot of fun.
These two just went out there and put on a five-star classic on a random Wednesday.
Oh yeah,
Wow.
they sure did.
Hidden Blade by Osprey gets him the win. And here comes Bryan Danielson. And I want to tell you, when Bryan Danielson's music hit and Will Ospreay was in the ring, is when I decided I was going to St. Louis.
Cool. Yeah.
I was like, oh, oh, they're doing that. Okay.
You
A
want?
fucking
Yeah.
count, huh? Count me in. I'll be
No,
there.
good deal. I'm glad you're able to get there, man.
Now, fun fact, I have been to an AEW pay-per-view before.
Yeah.
I've been to one other one. I was at Full Gear 2021.
Okay. Remind me what
But
was the main event of that one?
Kenny Omega versus Hangman Adam Page for the world title the night Hangman won it. And
Okay.
probably Hangman's best ever match.
Okay.
Because of course it was Kenny Omega.
Exactly.
At the peak of his powers, really. And that match fucking ruled. That's the
Oh,
best match I've ever seen live. But I gotta tell you, I think this Osprey Danielson match may surpass it.
oh yeah.
Because that match,
So
Russ, do you see any way that match is bad? Unless someone like actually dies.
yeah, we don't want that to happen, and I worry about that sometimes when I see these guys dropping each other on the neck and on the head, and it's not a botch, but they're doing it on purpose. I got to admit, I really get worried. I don't want to see someone get crippled in the ring, but it is going to be an amazing match.
So, Russ, I don't want to talk about a lot of SmackDown because, to be quite frank with you, a lot of that show didn't matter.
Back down, you talk about a Raw moving slow. We had a very, very long entrance
Can
by
I tell you, this show almost
by
put me to
Roman,
sleep a couple of times?
followed by a very, very long entrance by The Rock. Yeah.
That was at the end of the show.
Was it?
This show
Yeah,
opened with
exactly.
Logan
That's
Paul.
right. I'm sorry.
This show opened with Logan Paul, and I immediately wanted to change the fucking channel.
Yes.
By the way, so speaking of changing the fucking channel, so I have YouTube TV, right? That's
Right.
my cable. That's how I watch television.
All right.
And I'm sitting there watching SmackDown. And of course, this show is so mind-numbingly boring Friday. So I'm like half out of it anyway. And then at one point, I'm sitting there, I'm watching this show, and my feed goes out in the middle of a commercial.
Oh, really? What
And
are
I'm
you gonna
like,
do?
fuck. So it comes back. And I'll tell you what match that happened during here in a second, because it's a very funny moment. So Logan Paul opens the show. Prime is now the official mat sponsor of WWE for all their pay-per-views.
Right.
If you did not see this coming, you are deaf, blind, or both.
Right.
Anyway, we had a tag match, Owens and Orton, Theory and Waller. Snore.
I know. We get so many of these combinations that just thrown together to get the it
Listen, the
match.
match wasn't bad. I just didn't care.
Yeah, I hear you.
I'm going to skip forward here.
All right.
So the match where my shit went out was Dragon Lee and Angel.
All right.
This match barely gets started. They go to break. My feed cuts out, and it's gone for several minutes. And it comes back just in time for me to see Dragon Lee had won. I
Yep.
went back and watched it later. The match was pretty good.
Uh-huh.
What we saw of it, anyway.
Yeah, it was okay.
Anyway,
Uh,
anyway,
Lashley. Oh, I'm sorry. I forget what.
Lashley was earlier in the show. I skipped that because it didn't
Correct.
matter. We get the announcement that we're going to get Dakota Kai versus Bayley next week on SmackDown. That match is going to slap.
I think it'll
It's going
be
to be
good. They've been
it's going to be great.
building up to that, you know.
We're also getting Rey Mysterio's return.
Well, I guess Angel Garza versus Dragon Lee, that was the last match then before we got into the long, long chapter, the next chapter in the soap opera of the Bloodline versus the Cody clan.
The Cody crew.
There you go, the Cody crew.
So I didn't hate this segment or anything. This was fine. Just too many entrances.
Too long. Yes.
The highlights here. Um, Cody smacked The Rock at the end,
Yeah,
and they, of course, accepted the challenge. So
correct.
here's how this is going to work, folks. For those of you, as my camera goes out of focus, for those of you maybe not adeptly attuned to what's going on, here's the current landscape. The main event of night one of WrestleMania is Cody Rhodes and Seth Rollins against The Rock and Roman Reigns.
Right. With a
The
stipulation.
with a stipulation being that if
Right.
Cody Rhodes wins, the rest of the bloodline will be banned from the building on night two. And then on night two, Seth
And I'm like,
Rollins will
why aren't
face
they anyway? You know, but what do I know? Right?
Seth Rollins will face Drew McIntyre for the World Heavyweight title, and in the main event, Roman Reigns will defend against Cody Rhodes.
That's what we know so far, and I'm sure there'll be other stuff, but that's what we know so far for sure.
Well, let me go through the WrestleMania card fully here
Yeah,
because we do have a few more matches.
card subject to change though, right? Of
Card's always subject to change.
course it is.
So we actually have a good chunk of the WrestleMania card. So the only confirmed match is the one we just talked about, the tag match. That's the only confirmed night one match. And the
Right.
other two matches are the only two confirmed night two matches. The three matches that are yet to get a night. Io Sky versus Bayley. I would presume that's going to be on night one. Rhea Ripley versus Becky Lynch. I would presume that's going to be on night two. Gunther versus whoever wins that gauntlet. I would presume that might open night one.
Oh yeah, it'd be a good opener. Yeah.
So, Russ, overall, I think Dynamite was the best show of the week.
Yeah, probably.
It had the least shit. I felt like I was wasting my time a lot less on that show.
Yeah. There was nothing that stood out as absolutely must see TV this week.
No, no, the more entertaining thing was me working myself into a shoot. to
There
going to
you
this
exactly.
fucking pay-per-view.
You did it.
Russ, I've never been to St. Louis. I don't know how this is gonna go, brother.
Oh, I've flown in there a couple of times,
And flown
and
out immediately.
but I wasn't able. It was on business related, and I wasn't able to hang out and see the town. So I wasn't able to explore in the local ambience.
Well, I will be there for 3 days.
Get you some of that ambience.
Well, 3 nights in a day.
There you
I'll be
go.
there the 19th, 20th, 21st, and I will fly out on the 22nd. Maybe I'll come home on the 22nd. I don't know. There's a rumor another leg to this trip that if that happens, April's a wash.
Oh yeah.
Well, for the penultimate time this month, I think, and no, not the penultimate time this month. That's next week.
Right.
For one of the last times from this studio for now, I'll be here next week and I will be here the week after. But after that, I don't know when you're going to see me here again. You'll see me, but I don't know when I'll be here. Um, that's it. But Russ and I are Russ, we're going to do our WrestleMania preview show, right?
Of course.
The week before.
Yeah. You want to do
So
that
it'll,
the regular time of the week before? They should
yeah,
have
well,
they should have everything confirmed by then, but you never know. Monday Night Raw and SmackDown that we could throw everything into turmoil.
it will probably be a pre-taped show the week of WrestleMania.
Okay, yeah.
There probably won't be any recaps or anything. It'll probably be pre-taped because I'll be in LA. And then I'm going right to Seattle from there. So I will hopefully everything it if everything goes according to plan, here's how this is going to work.
Yes.
We're going to be able to do everything as we normally do it,
Right.
nights 1 and 2 of WrestleMania. I'm just going to be across the country.
No
If
problem.
everything goes according to plan.
All we need is for the interwebs to hook up out there in the interweb space.
Oh, I'll have good internet where I'm going. I'm not worried about my internet. I'm just saying that if everything goes according to plan, I won't have this microphone. Um, I may splurge and buy a microphone of better quality than the one I'm going to have with me. Um, but we'll see how that goes. I mean,
Correct.
who knows? I may splurge and buy a laptop. Who knows? But we'll see. Uh, for now, that's going to be it for us. We'll see you right back here next week. Same time, same place next week, knuckleheads.
Yes. Looking forward
And
to it.
King Knucklehead, aka Russ, I'll see you
We'll
down
see
the
ya.
road here, brother.
Talk to you soon. Take care.
Damon, as I like to say, play my fucking music. And folks, have a great week. Enjoy the rest of it.